The next big step in education evolution. After the launch of iPads 10 years ago, yep, that was 10 years ago, personal tablets became a student's staple in the classroom.
But new research from James Cook University has revealed that devices might not be the game changer we had hoped for, showing they have not enhanced maths, English or science skills. So how do we find the right balance between modern technology and going back to basics?
And digital literacy expert Dr. Joe Orlando joins us live from Sydney. Hi, Joe. Always good to see you. So tell us about this study. What's it revealed?
Yeah, so as you said, iPads have been around for 10 years. So this study has taken the studies that have occurred in the last 10 years to kind of take stock. You know, what do we know so far? Is technology actually helping learning or is it harming learning? And we keep hearing mixed, messages about this. So it was trying to clarify what's happening so far. So what do we know? So first up, it found that, technology isn't necessarily influencing children to get greater marks in maths or English, but it's also not hindering them learning as well. And I think we know that because it's not just about putting a device in front of a child, it's how it's used, it's a child's IQ, it's the teacher, it's the classroom, home environment, lots of things contribute to how a child learns. So another thing that this taking stock study found out was that when it's used really well, technology is actually helping children to learn some really good skills like collaboration skills, good communication skills, and it also gives them access to a wide range of resources online. So we know that's a good thing. But another thing it found out is that when technology isn't used well, that a child can be quite distracted in their learning when they're on a device at school or at home doing their homework.
Yeah, know that full well. What basic skills might our children be missing out on then, Joe, with the increase of computer and tablet use?
Yeah, so the study found out something really interesting. So it's how we physically use a device and how it affects a child's brain development. So if you think we have a device and if it's in front of us, a child is using particular kinds of actions. So they might be swiping, they might be tapping, they might be using the keyboard and typing. So with their fingers, they're using quite broad actions. And the study's saying, if they're using devices too much, then they're missing out on those fine motor skills. They're the things that we use our fingers for that are quite fine work, like holding a pencil or picking up small things. So fine motor skills. And you might say, how does fine motor skills actually affect a child's learning? Well, it's pretty interesting because a lot of studies show that if a child is actually doing well at school, they actually have really well-developed fine motor skills. So they're saying in this study we don't want to lock out any opportunities for children to learn. So we don't want them on their device all the time. We want them on there sometimes, but we also want them doing these traditional kind of colouring in, handwriting, those kinds of activities to help to develop their fine motor skills as well.
Well, this is really interesting considering that 2020 has really been the year of COVID learning, online learning from home. So does that mean a lot of these children that have been forced to do online learning have probably been disadvantaged?
I think it's a really good question, Now, we've had to go into online learning, so without the technology, we wouldn't have been learning much at all. But what I found in my own research is that children had developed great digital literacy skills. So probably day one in a lot of homes with online learning was probably slow as a snail. Your child probably couldn't work out which apps to use and probably slow at doing a whole lot of things. But we found a few weeks later that children have developed really good independence and confidence finding their way around the apps that their teacher and school are using, great typing skills. They were going onto different websites and looking at the text and images and analysing those. So good kind of critical analysis skills. So they're really important for kind of detecting misinformation and fake news online. So a lot of really good digital literacy skills. And we know that's really important for learning, but it's also really important for their future careers. So definitely not lost time. Some great skills have come out of this online learning weeks.
Like anything, Joe, it's all about balance. So if we want to make sure our kids don't spend too much time in front of a tablet, what are some of the warning signs that would let us know, it's tipping too far the other way?
Yeah, and I think we always need to be on the lookout for this. I think the biggest warning sign is if all your child's activities are done on a screen. So all their learning, hanging out with friends, their entertainment, their chilling out, if they don't have any non-technology interests, that's a big warning sign because it leads to information overload. They'll have trouble sleeping, they'll have problems staying focused, and it also, they're not spending a lot of time with other children or with other people, so it can lead to social anxiety, social awkwardness. So there's definitely that need for balance in their activities.
What are the differences for older kids when it comes to technology inside and outside the classroom?
Yeah, so we often think of balance in terms of how much time those teenagers are on their device. So it's about time, but it's also balance in what they're doing on there. So if they're just spending their time, passively scrolling social media, then that's definitely imbalance. So I think in terms of time, getting them to use their screen features, on their phone or on their devices so they can see how long they've spent on Instagram, over the last week. So getting a sense of what they're spending their time on online, because that realisation helps them to think, oh, I need to make some change. But also encouraging them to do other things online that aren't passive. So scrolling, taking in. We don't only want them to do that. We want them to be creative. We want them to make music. We want them to look up recipes and cook things. We want them to make videos and lots of creative kind of things too. So balance in what they do online as well.
As always, Jo, your advice is fantastic. Thanks so much, Jo.
Thanks, guys.